Buddy, thank you very much, Luciano, for firing that up for me. Before we get started today, I do want to acknowledge that we are doing this from the unceded territories of the Snuneymuxw, Snonos, and Seminas peoples, and we thank them for allowing us to work, live, and play on their traditional lands. Mindset over matter is the subject matter today. We're very pleased to again welcome in number 4 or number 5 of our series with Isabelle Mercier. Some of you may be familiar with Isabelle, but I'll do a little bit of an introduction here for those of you who aren't quite as familiar. Isabelle is a no-nonsense dynamo born to catapult passionate entrepreneurs and thought leaders to build businesses and brands designed to make life better. As one of North America's top business influencers, best-selling author, 2-time TEDx speaker with over 2.5 million views, and TV show host, Isabelle brings over 25 years of branding, marketing, and customer experience expertise. Isabelle co-founded her first 7-figure business a few years out of her teens, which is what I thought she was now. She became one of the most awarded branding firms in Canada, including Canada's Best SME Entrepreneur of the Year. Isabelle is a fitness fanatic, from being an avid yogi to deadlifting over 250 pounds. Please join me in welcoming brand strategist, best-selling author, and motorcycle lover, Isabelle Mercier. Take it away, Isabelle.
Thank you so much. I'm super happy to be here. And yes, this is, I think, 4th or 5th encounter, and I'm totally thrilled. Thank you for continually having me back. Obviously, there has to be value there in order to be reinvited back. So I think that if this is your first time with me today, you're hopefully in for a treat. First, I want to actually say to everybody that is here live, thank you for showing up. Thank you for opting in and actually showing up. That's one that says a lot about the entrepreneur, the kind of person that you are. And we're all very busy. We all have a million things to do, and yet you are taking time to be here to learn and to possibly implement some pivotal shifts that are going to really help you in your business and in your life, of course, because mindset follows us everywhere, wherever we are, in stores, having fun outside, in our businesses, with our families. Mindset is everything, according to me and according to many of my awesome, crazy peers. All right, so a couple of things for today. I'll be sharing my screen in just a second here. Let me just do that right now. So mindset over matter, truly pivotal. It's going to be some pivotal things today that I'm going to be sharing. And what I want to do is I want to encourage you to, through the presentation, to write down some thoughts or questions or things that you'd like to ask me or connect with me towards the end, because I want to keep some time at the end where there's time for interaction and there's time for me to for you to get some free coaching, some assistance, some different thinking, different thoughts on certain things that could totally help you move the needle forward. So just write down some of your thoughts and questions. Don't be shy. I'm definitely easy to talk to. And Luciano is here from Leap Zone as well. He is one of the main coaches here at Leap Zone. And Luciano, please interrupt whenever you want to add or double click on something. Don't be shy to do that. All right. So I want to start by saying a pretty important fact. The fact is, most people struggle to find their emotional center in the best of times, right? Let alone in uncertain, chaotic times. And in difficult times, what takes over? Fear. Fear takes over. Anxiety takes over. Worry takes over. And these emotions, they're not good. They're not helpful. They paralyze us. They steal us from our focus. They steal us from our good habits and our sense of peace and our sense of purpose. And of course, our sense of well-being. And I know that you've all experienced big change in fear, and how fear does exactly what I just said, right? Takes you out of your center, your emotional center. And I believe that, and that's human, by the way, everybody, whether you're amazing at mindset or not, you will be at some point bumped off the axis, right? And it's how equipped you are to get back on, that's going to make the biggest difference, right? And have control over emotions and thoughts. And I believe that right here, right now, we're all given an opportunity to level up, starting with our mindset. And the question is, are we willing to leverage this opportunity, right? Are you up for being curious and learning new things to leverage this opportunity? I know I am. I definitely have, and I continue to elevate my mindset absolutely every day. In fact, one of my coaches kicked my butt on Monday due to a mindset that was, for one piece of thing, that was kind of in the gutter. And so I got kicked, which is good. So, all right, your success, right? Your success in business and in life, I believe, is a direct reflection of your inner beliefs and your inner thoughts. Because as you know, your belief fuel your thoughts fuel your actions, and of course, your actions dictate your results. Right? And I think that that's a fairly fair equation here. The mindset is like the undertow of the ocean. You could be wanting to row east, but if the undertow is going west, you're not going to beat that. There's no amount of rowing that's going to beat the undertow. So that's the same thing. The undertow is like mindset. So even though you have the right strategies, if your mindset is working against you, it doesn't matter the strategy. You'll end up where the undertow is taking you. And so today, it's about figuring out, is about sharing a few pivotal shifts that are going to really help you take control of the undertow. And let's face it, right? Crisis is sometimes the only way that massive change happens on this planet. It's unfortunate, but it's kind of how it goes. Like, have you ever wondered why nothing seems to get done fast in government offices and banks and hospitals? And they take longer to embody change. Regulations and bureaucracy in those places make change next to bloody impossible. What creates change? Well, one word. This creates change. Necessity. Necessity. Think about it. What makes a firefighter run into a burning, bloody building to save people, right? A Marine run towards an explosion to save someone, part of their platoon. What pushes scientists to work day and night for a cure? What pushes doctors and nurses to have work, endless hours in their day to save lives? Necessity does. Necessity is the emotional drive that makes great performance a must, right? Instead of a preference. When you feel a sense of necessity, you don't sit around wishing or hoping. You get up and you get things done. Well, COVID has been and still is that necessity that's needed to break down the unhealthy status quo and all the bureaucracy that is unneeded. Some bureaucracy is needed, some isn't, right? And to create that kind of so much needed change. And yes, necessity and change, that process actually hurts. And no, it's not always necessary fun at all. Everyone is affected one way or another by change and by necessity. But let's look at the positive side of necessity. Medical regulations have been relaxed to speed COVID detection and COVID immunization efforts. And, insurance companies are now providing coverage for remote medical checkups. I mean, this change took 48 hours at the time instead of the expected 10-year exercise it would have taken just in paperwork alone, right? Our archaic educational system is magically becoming significantly more online friendly, right? But that didn't happen without this necessity of COVID. Small business owners are now selling their products online and their services online and have gained clients worldwide instead of just next door due to this necessity. The necessity that was created by COVID, and you and I, we're all very sick of that word, right? And it's been a big pivotal shift and a big catalyst for a lot of changes. And so these changes, they've been insanely positive for some entrepreneurs and for clients to actually make different decisions in their buying patterns. right? And the return from that has been devastating in certain areas and absolutely mind-bogglingly, amazingly, and brought a lot of growth in other areas. So that growth within change happens, of course, should you choose to elevate and reinvent instead of just survive, right? And that goes for any situation. And I'm giving a COVID example here because it's been a huge catalyst for change, and it's present, and we know it. So necessity is the catalyst for all change. Same thing, if there's something you keep not doing in your business or in your life, and suddenly if your life depended on it, let me tell you, you would find a way to make it happen, and suddenly it would happen. So that's what we'll be talking about today. So just a little bit about me for those of you who don't know me, in addition to the introduction that Kim did earlier. I'm just going to remove this because it keeps banging the desk and it's making noise. So I am a brand strategist and brand positioning expert. What I do is I help entrepreneurs position their services and their offering in a way that people go, where the hell have you been all my life? And I'm known as the Simon Cowell of branding and positioning. And if you know Simon Cowell, you might not think that this is a compliment, but it is. It's a huge compliment because he sure knows how to spot talent and catapult talent forward. And that's part of what I do really well. I'm just, a little bit more fashionable and friendlier than he is. In the past 25 plus years of being in business, I've created a few seven-figure businesses, one of them right out of my teens. I've produced and hosted the #1 online TV show called Leap TV. I've worked with large, very iconic and globally known brands. I've been voted Entrepreneur of the Year and North America's top business, and part of North America's top business influencers. I have 2 TEDx's under my belt with over 3 million views. And I'm not sharing this to, give myself a tap on the back. I'm sharing this because I have been through my fair share of reinvention, pivots, and mindset strengthening in those 25 plus years in business, of course. And I've done that successfully with my team at Leap Zone, with hundreds of entrepreneurs and thought leaders around the world. Reinventing and repositioning is not easy, and it actually can be scary because it brings up a lot of unknowns, a lot of uncertainty, a lot of blind spots. And one thing is for sure, it's incredibly rewarding. And 99.999% of the time, it actually leads to something way better, something that we could not even have imagined this good. But that happens, of course, when you have the right mindset, right? And the habits to help you continually elevate that mindset so that you can strengthen it and so that you can leverage that strength when adversity knocks on the door. So on the agenda today, we'll talk about where fear comes from and how to leverage it to your advantage. And that's part of strengthening the mindset. I'll share with you the #1 question that you need to answer on a regular basis to allow you to play to win rather than play not to lose. There's a big difference between the two. And I'll share with you 3 pivotal shifts to help you stay focused and empowered to grow and thrive despite of what's happening in the world, right? I'll also give you the opportunity to get some free coaching. As I said at the end, please turn your cameras on and ask your questions, share with us what's challenging so we can give you some mindset shifts along the way. And I'll also be sharing a few resources to help you implement what you learned today, because knowing something is one thing, right? Implementing it is what gets results. And today, what I want to move from common sense to common practice. Deal? We good? We all following? Awesome. I don't see a lot of people with the cameras on, but that's good. That's okay. All right, so here it is. Crisis equals danger plus opportunity. What I mean by that is, in every problem, therein lies the next solution. And from the same token, in every solution, therein lies the next problem. And in the past, 150 years, there's been many huge changes, massive crises, and unexpected events that have created new normals, right? That have shaped our reality today. For example, the computer, right? The computer killed the typewriter. The smartphone is completely killing landlines. iPods, iPads have killed the Walkman. Remember those awesome yellow Walkmans? That's killed the Walkman and the portable CD player. Video streaming killed the video rental store business, right? Microwave ovens, the internet, video game consoles, Uber, Starbucks, software memberships. Every single one of those innovations have created massive business growth for some and death for others. Why is that? Now, why is it that some companies they're born or they grow exponentially during times of change and during crisis, while others die? Well, the answer to that is cheese. And let me explain. I'm sure you guys are like, what? Who moved my cheese? Crap, there used to be a pile of cheese here for me. Where did it go, right? Who Moved My Cheese is a great little book by Spence Johnson about understanding change and leveraging it to create something even better. Because here's what it is. There will always be change. Change always will happen. That's the one thing that's 100% certain. So with change, or we can venture to find new and better cheese, right? So the thing is, will happen, as I just said. It not the cheese, to continue with this analogy, the cheese will keep on moving. Sometimes it moves a few inches, and sometimes it moves a few 100,000 kilometers. Sometimes, poof, it disappears, right? The key is to always be on your toes, expecting for the cheese to move instead of worrying about it or fearing it to move, because you know it'll move. You have to be ahead of it. So let's talk about fear, because once we understand something, we can actually do something about it, right? So let's talk about fear. There's a couple of distinct categories of fear. The first is the fear of loss. And I think we've all experienced loss in our lives. I don't think that there's anyone breathing being on this masterclass here that has never experienced some type of loss, from losing life, losing money, comfort, material. I mean, we've totally all gone through losing something or someone important in our life. And yet, here we all are, and I'd be willing to bet that we're most probably all stronger as a result of it. I often use this phrase that I'm about to say, am I right or am I right? Right? Am I right or am I right? That when it resonates, that's how it goes. We've all lost something. And focusing on the loss or the fear of loss will only bring about more loss, because what we focus on, we bring about, right? So the key is to be proactive about gain or about something that's going well versus being reactive about the loss. So mitigating the fear, again, is you can do that by being proactive on a few things that are working well instead of fretting or worrying about the things that are not working well or the things that have suddenly disappeared. It's to look at it in terms of, oh, there's an opportunity here, as opposed to, holy shit, I'm gonna die, right? The second category is the fear of struggle. No one likes to struggle. I don't like to struggle. Luch doesn't like to struggle. Nobody likes to struggle. It sucks. Once again, we've all been through many struggles before, right? And came out of it stronger. We know this. The key is to really honor that struggle instead of avoiding it. My mom has always said, go through the door of pain, go through the door of confusion. Because if you avoid the door of confusion, pain, or whatever the door of struggle is, if you avoid it, it'll always come back to you tenfold. You gotta go through it to feel it and to find new solutions so that you're better equipped in the future with it. So, and then there's the fear of outcome. I'm sure that in your life, you have anticipated and worried about bad outcomes. Hell yeah, I have as well, totally. And the thing is, we spend a lot of time and energy talking about or anticipating or worrying about bad outcomes or what we don't want. And I remember clearly, and this is so ironic, one of my TEDx talks is about worry and diminishing worry. And, you know, of course you don't talk about worry if you've never experienced worry or if you're excellent with worry. No, you talk about it because, you know, you've become really good at it because you're a worrywart. So for me, I worried so much about forgetting my thoughts, because a TEDx talk, you don't have notes, right? And you have a really strict timeline. So I worried so much about the outcome of losing my train of thought midway through in front of thousands of people. Well, guess what happened? Exactly that. It's exactly what happened, right? Why? Because I spent a lot of time and energy worrying about the outcome I did not want. What you focus on, you bring about. So very important in order to mitigate fear, that mitigating fear doesn't happen by curling up in a fetus position or waiting for what happens next, or worse, catastrophizing the outcome, right? Mitigating fear requires us to have the guts and the courage to engage, to explore, to be curious, and to do our very best to reinvent how we are of service and visualize a great outcome. And through that, once we know that there's 3 types of fear: loss, struggle, and outcome, when you're fearful of something, just go, what category am I most fearful about right now? Am I worried about the outcome, the struggle, or the loss? And then really just go back to this and equip yourself, do the work to go through it and equip yourself to keep your head, as good Isabelle language, keep your head out of your ass. This is what we say here at Leap Zone. My coach keeps my head out of my ass all the time. So here's one question that a lot of people are asking themselves when they're facing change is, how am I going to get through this? I'm sure that you've said that to yourself a couple of times. I have. The problem with this question is that it leads to thinking from a place of fear instead of thinking from a place of curiosity. How am I going to get through this is fear-based. A better question would be to ask, what am I going to change to get through this and to possibly TEDx my business, and to better my, flexibility in my business, whatever the thing is for you, right? So what am I going to change to get through this and possibly TEDx my business in the midst of all that? What am I willing to do? What am I willing to explore? What am I committed to create to better serve my clients, my community, my industry, so that I can find new sources of cheese, so that I can find better cheese? See, focusing on growing exponentially. I didn't say slightly grow my business here. I said 10x my business. Why? Because focusing on growing exponentially gets your minds to think bigger and think smarter, macro versus micro, which makes a massive difference. It just gets you to not be stuck in the weeds, right? And be more innovative and solution driven. Okay.
Isabelle, if I may, because you said I could interrupt you, so I will.
Of course, yes.
I really want to highlight that last point there, because that's so pivotal. Is because as entrepreneurs, what are we designed to do? Let's go, solve something, or let's do something. And it can also come from being fear-based. And, what we often say here is that in order to really do good with something, in order to elevate something, the first thing to do is to come up with an intelligent question, right? And what you're showing there is that instead of being fear-based, that's an intelligent question. What is it that I need to shift? What am I going to change in order to get, through this, and to also increase my business by tenfold? Now, whether it's tenfold, twofold, whatever the question is, it's so important, and you nail it with just that. And when you have an intelligent question, you won't know the answer. And I have asked questions, business-wise, non-business-wise, that are out of this world, and I've always gotten an answer whenever I've clearly articulated that, and as we do with our clients. I just don't want to gloss over that because that is so huge.
Yeah, thank you, Luch, for double clicking on that. And as you know, when you just said something that I wanted to add, and now I lost my train of thought. It'll come back. Yeah, if you want to innovate something or create something new, asking the right question is key. And if you already know the answer to that question, the question's not big enough, or you're not thinking big enough. The goal is to not know the answer. If you knew the answer, if you know the answer, just remember, you're probably not thinking big enough.
Right.
That's another little piece that I want to add. All right. So I said that I was going to share 3 pivotal mindset shifts. And these shifts are going to help you stay inspired and empowered to make positive changes in your life and in your business, therefore, of course, creating better results, right? There are 12 pivotal mindset shifts, and I'm going to share 3 with you today. And my partner and I, Margarita, we teach in addition, all the 12, we teach those in our Mindset Mastery Code online program. Super fun, super entertaining, and pivotal. We deliver it together, and it's a program that I'll talk a little bit more about it towards the end. It's changed the lives of a lot of our clients and people we know, people we've helped along the years. But for now, let's talk about the first pivotal shift, and it's to choose your emotional tone. Man, choosing your emotional tone is absolutely key. So you can choose to add to the internal and external panic in a change or in a fearful situation, or you can choose to adopt the role model mindset, right? To stay calm, centered, and focused on what truly matters. You can choose to participate in the drama or grow by facing it and calmly doing the reinvention or the innovation work that's required. I'm not saying that it's all calm and that you can't have a shit fit along the way. We all have, but at some point we need to, shit fits don't breed innovation, right? They just get some energy out so we can get to the innovation. So said differently, are you playing to win or are you playing not to lose? There's a big difference in mindset, in attitude, and in actions. Someone playing not to lose will often make poor decision, nearsighted decision, fear-based decisions, whereas someone playing to win will make decisions that are founded on facts, founded on what matters most now, and also how the now will affect the near and the distant future. Right? In other words, someone that plays to win can approach any situation with this important question. So this is another question I want you to really pay attention to. Who is this situation calling me to become? That's a powerful question. Who is this situation calling me to become? See, when you approach each challenge with this question in mind, you're focusing on elevating yourself and finding new solutions rather than focusing on the fear, the problem, and that is playing to win rather than playing not to lose. And that starts with you choosing your emotional tone and adopting the role model mindset. So I hope this is making sense. The second pivotal shift is learn to eliminate worry. As I said earlier with my TED Talk, right? Part of my first TED Talk is about that. And I talk about this how worry is a simple word, right? 5 letters. And these 5 letters are used by the majority of the human race every single day. Yet this word has the power to kill, it kills creativity, it kills individuality, it kills performance. And worst of all, it actually kills your ability to dream and to innovate. Worry is giving way to anxiety and unease. And that never leads you anywhere great. I remember when I was looking for inspiration for that worry TED Talk, I spoke to a lot of people about their worries. And one of them I'll always remember, she said, I have never traveled anywhere because I worry about accidents on the road or planes crashing. Look at the power that 5-letter word has over the life of this person, right? And we all have, listen, I am not above any of this, right? I have my worries. Luciano has his own worries. And usually what Luciano worries about, I don't. And what I worry about, he doesn't. That's usually how it goes, right? Thus proving that the thing that we're worrying about is not worth it, because some other people do very well by not worrying about that thing, right? So here's a bit of a reality check. 40% of what we worry about has already happened, right? Nothing you can do about it. It's already happened. 30% of what we worry about will never happen. It won't happen. It's just a figment of our imagination. That's a lot of worrying for absolutely nothing you can do about it, right? 12% of what we worry about are needless worries about our health. And you know, when you have a headache for 3 days and then it turns into, you think you have cancer, and you call Dr. Google, you know, and then suddenly, oh my God, it's escalated to something real bad. Now, 10% of what we worry about are petty miscellaneous worries, like, you know, what are we going to cook for dinner? How am I going to get dressed for this event? Or just, you know, some worries. Now, that leaves, if you're making the math, 8% for legitimate worries. 8%, which means that 92% of what we're worrying about is a total waste of energy. And that waste of energy keeps us from being at our best, right? Worrying is like trying to solve bloody algebra by chewing bubble gum. That's just makes no sense, right? Well, that's exactly. So how do you eliminate worry, right? At the very minimum, how do you reduce it? Worrying is literally, okay, well, yeah, let's go directly to that. So, and by the way, by eliminating the number one thing that I do to reduce my worry is to eliminate or dramatically reduce your media exposure. And I know this always gets people to go, oh my God, you know, I need to watch the news. I watch the media. Listen, I've watched the news probably 3 times in my 50 years of being on this planet. And my mindset is pretty much unshakable in certain areas as a result of that. Now, I'm not saying as of tonight, don't watch the news ever again. I'm saying just be careful what you let in, because what you let in, same like food, what you put in, you will get in terms of result and energy, right? So that's number one as a suggestion to start reducing worry. The second one is to understand that what you tolerate, you worry about. What I mean by that is what you say yes to when you want to say no to, or should say no to, is what you're going to end up tolerating. And what you tolerate sooner or later will translate into you worrying about it. It doesn't matter how big the decision is, how big the yes or the no is, it will drive you. Whatever you tolerate will lead into worry. But why do we tolerate so much? You know, we tolerate a lot as human beings. We tolerate not to disappoint. We tolerate not to create conflicts. We have a fear of saying no. We have a fear of losing something. We want to avoid difficult conversations. We don't want to open a can of worms. Sometimes we just don't bloody know that we're tolerating. And in my opinion, tolerating is the number one bulb dimmer, worry creator, and performance killer of all times. So my suggestion is what if we took that energy, right? That 92% that we use for this nonsense worry energy, and what if we repurposed it, right? To repurpose it to doing something good, something that's positive, something that's tangible and that would move the needle forward in your business and in your life. Wouldn't that be more intelligent? Yes, it would. I agree with you guys. Thank you for agreeing with me. All right, so what I suggest for you to take at least like a piece of paper and write 15 things that you're tolerating in your life and in your business. I don't care how big, how small. And I want you to pick one per week and I want you to bust it. It could be a remote control that needs new batteries that you just never change. It could be the faucet that leaks. It could be an employee that doesn't do what they need to do, or whatever it is, a client that you need to say no to. Something you said yes to that you should have said no, now you're tolerating it. You should, get yourself out of that. At the end of the day, reducing what you tolerate constantly will bring more peace of mind and will increase your level of happiness. I guarantee it. So understanding what you tolerate, you worry about. So now let's go to the third pivotal mindset shift. And that third mindset shift is committing to success. Committing to success in the face of obstacles and hold steady when the world is not, right? When the world is rocking. See, when confronted with a challenge, the committed heart searches for a solution while the undecided heart searches for an escape. That's an amazing quote from Andy Andrews. And it's so true, so true. Commitment, what is commitment? Well, it's the state or quality of being dedicated to a cause or dedicated to an activity. Commitment is an act, not a word. I've seen a lot of people say, I'm so committed, but their action don't say that. Their words say that, but not their actions, right? So, and as one of my coaches has always said to me, today is the day to focus 100% on what I want and 0% on what I don't want, no matter what is happening in the world. Too many times, right? We focus on what we don't want, as I said earlier. So chaos brings the necessity for hyper focus. Holding steady when the world is rocking. This is something that we talk about at Leap Zone quite a bit. Succeeding in life and in business, it requires a shit ton of focus, steadiness, of alignment, and of readiness. And as we say often, we say we're focused and steady, aligned and ready, because we have these mindset shifts and habits, and we share a lot of physical, concrete habits in the Mindset Mastery Code program to really help you implement these mindset shifts. And so what I want to ask you around the commitment to success is, what is your definition of success, right? On a scale of 1 to 10, how committed are you to making that happen? On a scale of 1 to 10, are your daily actions aligned with your commitments to succeed? Wanting to lose 20 pounds doesn't happen by doing nothing. I don't know why we always go to these examples that are simple, right? Losing pounds. It's so simple to understand, yet so hard to do. Why? Because it requires commitment. It requires a mindset shift. It requires a different way of thinking to not just lose the weight, but be healthier. And that's a mindset shift that can lock your commitment in, right? So what is your definition of success? And on a scale of 1 to 10, how committed are you to making this happen? When you have something that you're procrastinating on often, just ask yourself, how important is this thing? And if it's that important that it's always there in my face, then what is my level of commitment to making this happen? Because that makes a big difference. What you're committed to do and what is most important. And again, if your life dependent on it, something that I always say is we're full of shit. Sorry, I've swore a couple times on this. I say that we're full of shit because if there's something that I need to do and want to do and it's important for me to do and I constantly don't do it, that's just, and suddenly, literally, if $10 million were dangling at the end of me doing this constantly, let me tell you, I'd find a way to make it happen, proving the point that we're full of shit. It's a question of commitment, and it's a question of level of necessity and level of importance. People that don't have a lot of necessity in their lives make completely different decisions than people that have great necessity. And as I said at the beginning, necessity is the driver of change. Now, I'm not talking about, being under the gun every day in order to get things done. No, I'm talking about strengthening our mindset and our habits and what we believe in order to bring about better ease through change from strength and mindset. So, okay, let's just recap this quickly here. So choose your emotional tone. Learn to eliminate worry and commit to success. And as I said a few times now, there are 12 pivotal mindset shifts. And then there are habits and strategies that have been an absolute game changer for us in our lives, our team, Margarita and I as a couple, and for our clients to really help them stay present, stay focused on what matters, and empowered to grow and thrive and innovate despite of what's happening in the world. And we share these at leapzonelearninglab.com. So if you want to have a look at this program, leapzonelearninglab.com. It is normally $500, and we've actually reduced it to $97 for you guys. So in case you want to deepen the conversation on that and having fun doing that as well. So that's one of the tools here that I wanted to share with you. So your mission, should you accept it, of course, is to set yourself and your mindset up to always find new cheese, right? And in order to find new cheese, you got to have more curiosity than fear, because being an entrepreneur, that comes with important responsibilities, in my opinion, and I'm sure you'll agree with me. And one of these responsibilities is to create products and services that make life better in good times, especially in bad times. And as entrepreneurs, we need to master the art of creating, evolving, and reinventing ourselves all the time. We need to be masters at always looking for and recreating and looking for new cheese, better cheese. Because make no mistake, your prospects and your clients are going to buy. They are going to buy what you offer. The question is, will they buy that from you, or will they buy it from someone else? What do your clients and prospect need the most right now, right? What can you offer them that would make their life better in this time of challenge? How can you offer your products or genius a little bit differently to set yourself apart, to make it easier for people to say, where the hell have you been all my life? Now, of course, the process of creation, innovation, and reinvention is much easier said than done. I know that. I know that. This is what I do for a living. And I have, a few coaches and mentors to help me do that effectively for myself. Because guess what? When you're in the pickle jar, you can't see the calories on the label, When you're in the frame, you can't see the picture. So I want to share with you a couple of opportunities, free opportunities here to get some help and some assistance to possibly move the needle forward here in your business. So one of the ways is to connect with us is to fill out our needs assessment online. Very simple assessment. It gets to me, it also gets to Luciano, and that allows us to assess where you're at, what you're up to, where you need to innovate, and where would there be better cheese or new sources of cheese for you. And we can help you identify those biggest points of leverage. And I want to be able to do that absolutely free on a Zoom call so that we can deepen that conversation. So the way to have access to Luciano and I and others on our team is to fill our needs assessment. And then I guarantee you that time with us, you will get out of it with concrete things that you'll be able to implement and a way for moving forward and growing, whether that includes us in the mix or not, irrelevant. What is relevant is that we continue the conversation or we help you. And as I mentioned earlier, this Mindset Mastery Code, literally you can find that at leapzonelearninglab.com. And yes, you can, it's really fun. As I said, it's fun, it's entertaining, and it's light learning, and these learnings that are going to make a big difference in your life. So what I want to do now is, and I want to add, whether you're small and a solopreneur or a couplepreneur, or whether you have a larger organization with lots of employees, we have different ways that we work with clients at different level of their stage to help them move the needle forward and grow, despite of what's happening in the world. So now what I want to do is I'm gonna unshare the screen here because I want to see you guys. I would like to hear some of your thoughts, some of your insights. What has resonated with you through my talk? What has not resonated and you want to and you want to point it out, what questions do you have? Is there specific challenges that we can help you surmount or at least discuss? This is your opportunity here to connect and to get some free coaching, as I said at the beginning of all of this. And don't be shy, turn on your cameras. I'd love to see you guys. And free coaching, who doesn't want free coaching or free guidance or help, right? At the very minimum, I'd love to hear some insights and gems. Who is willing to share? And please just unmute yourself before sharing. And you can just unmute and go ahead and go forward.
And maybe if you could raise your hand so that we know how many are there, and I will, Luciano and I will try to keep mental track of who rings in first. I just wanted to provide a couple of comments, Isabelle, if I might. Mm-hmm. Over the Christmas holidays, I had fortunately some time to kind of shut down and reflect on the year that was and look ahead to the year that is going to be, and make some promises to myself. 3 days into work in the new year, I'd forgotten all those promises that I made to myself. And I was right back where I was around the 23rd of December, which was, hurtling as fast as possible into a concrete wall. Yeah. And I stopped myself and I thought about you, because I thought about some of the lessons that you've taught us in the past. Yeah. And how the message might be different, but the intent is the same in so many of these things that we're doing. The other observation that I'd like to make is that I'm thinking you made a New Year's resolution this year to swear more often every day.
Probably.
and it actually looks pretty good on you.
Oh,
so stick with it, girl.
Yeah. To the
I'll turn the floor over to anybody else who has a comment.
Yeah, I would love to hear from you. Thank you for that, Kim.
Somebody jump in before I call you out.
Yeah, well, one of the things that I think, Isabelle, would be great to maybe just talk through a little bit more is this whole thing around tolerating. Mm-hmm. That it's a big, massive issue. We know what it means, but we don't do anything with it really, because we got to tolerate. There's that whole dichotomy that happens. And I think it would be of value just to kind of go through that a little bit and maybe even a couple of examples in terms of what tolerating, looks like, even for some of us that are here.
Yeah, you know what? This is a question that I ask myself at least once a day. And I'm not kidding. Here's an indication as to how to know if you're tolerating something is when, of course, reverse engineer, when you're worrying about something, please always go, whoa, what am I tolerating about this? Am I tolerating me not doing something? Am I tolerating me doing something I don't want to do anymore? And I see your hand, Shauna. But I ask myself, when I'm frustrated, I roll my eyes a lot in a day, whether it's an experience that I've experienced from someone else, I do. It's like, sometimes I'm like, really? Wow. Are you kidding me right now? From myself sometimes, from my team members, from my clients, from suppliers, from problems that occur. And sometimes I go, okay, if I'm rolling my eyes right now, is this an outside source of pain? Sometimes it is. Sometimes there's nothing to do about your toleration. But often it has to do with what you're tolerating. If I'm spending more time doing something in the day that I should constantly, usually it's because I'm tolerating someone else on my team not fully doing their job, as an example, right? So I'm doing it, but why? Because it has to be done and I don't have time. But eventually I go, okay, this is frustrating. What am I tolerating in this equation? I'm tolerating this counterpart or this person or this thing not functioning or not doing their job according to plan. It will always bring me to worry or to roll my eyes or to be uber frustrated when I tolerate something. Very rarely can't I link my eye roll or my frustration to something that I have tolerated or I'm tolerating. Does that make sense? Yeah.
And I like that whole distinction of let's write some things down in a bigger list, just so that way you can get that going and then work on like even once a week, you know. And one of the things you tolerate that we sometimes talk about here is that whole thing about, well, I write the same email over and over again. I know I need to make a template, and I need to go and do that.
Yeah.
And just doing that, it would make a big difference. Or having a particular time every week I open the mail. I'm just looking at my mail here that I got yesterday that I haven't touched yet, right? So, you know, there could be little things like that, and it can be big things such as, yeah, I need a video presentation that talks about what I do. So that's why I like that whole list thing, and then you can just bang them out.
And I'll give another tangible example, and I'll go to Shauna. For example, it used to be where when someone filled out our needs assessment, it comes to me, but my assistant connects to book a meeting. I don't have time to connect with everybody to book a meeting, the action of booking a meeting. But what I found is prospects wanted me to connect with them to book a meeting. And so they ignored my assistant. And I was like, well, that's not helpful, is it? Right? So I thought, okay, what can I do? I don't want to tolerate this anymore because it's not helpful for me and it's not helpful for her. She's trying to do her job. Nobody's giving her the light of day. I'm like, okay, I'm going to create a video that's going to be sent after people fill out the needs assessment. And that's going to say, hey, thank you for filling out. It's me. It's me. I say it in the video. It's just leverageable because it's evergreen. And I go, thanks for filling out the assessment. My assistant will get back to you to book a meeting. Please don't ignore her. She's your bridge to me, right? So, but that again, sometimes it's a template. Sometimes it's an architecture. You write brushing your teeth down twice or 3 times a day on your to-do list. No, you don't. Why? Because it's habitual now, right? But in order to have a habit, you have to have an architecture that leads to a habit. So I've been trying to journal regularly. And by regularly, I don't mean regularly once a year. I mean regularly every day. Because you need to define what regularly means, right? And so, and I do it for a while, much like Kim said, right? You're doing something and then boof. I do it for a while and then I fall off the wagon. Something more important comes along and then I forget. And so I've created myself an architecture that is tied with brushing my teeth. So when I brush my teeth, my journal is right there on the counter. So those 2 tasks go together now until I have it fully habitualized. So sometimes we need an architecture, and that's true for business, processes, habits. It's true for absolutely everything. Where there is an architecture, there is result. Shauna's like,
Hi.
Finally.
It's kind of related. Talking about the tolerating thing. I don't know if this resonates with other people. I'm a solopreneur. And as that, it's hard to juggle my workload. I'm a consultant, so service industry based. And I often take projects on that either get me too busy, or if I don't take projects on, I'm not busy enough. And so then my marketing and marketing towards the type of projects that I want and the location I want takes the back seat to fulfilling my obligations at present tense. And so I'm tolerating my own, it's myself, I'm my own worst enemy, but I take these projects on and then I don't have time to, gear and pivot in the right direction. So
And I'm sure that many people do resonate. I do as well. Let me tell you, I have as many things on my to-do list as anyone here, and I have an architecture to work on my business, doing what I need to do for Leap Zone on a weekly basis. Why? Because Leap Zone is a high-paying client of Leap Zone, right? So you would not show up to a client meeting. You would not deliver. I guess there's a better way of saying this, but you would not deliver a deliverable for a client, yet you don't deliver for yourself often. I don't deliver for myself often. Why? Because we think that a client is more important. But as soon as you understand that your business if it's not leveraged, if it's not set up properly, if there's no processes that allow you more time to do awesome work with your client, you'll at some point, something will break, something will collapse. And then you're not going to be able to impact as much people as you want to impact. Your bank account's not going to be as high as you want it to be. And that's because most people don't have an architecture to really treat their own business like their biggest, most high-paying client ever, even though you're not getting actually paid. But you are, because you're getting paid in leverage, in time saved, in automating certain things. I have so much automation in my business that it allowed me to be without an assistant for 7 years longer than normal. So it's good because I'm leveraged and I have an assistant now. And still yet, I still have to have an architecture to work on my business every week. So I have blocks of time in my calendar that are dedicated to working on LeapZone. And if a client needs that time block, I do not. It's if I can move it somewhere else like I would any other client, of course I will. I'm flexible and I'm helpful. But I will not treat LeapZone as a lesser important than any other client that are massively important for us. And that makes a massive difference. Yeah. Make sense? Is it helpful, Shauna?
Yes, it is. It's good to kind of get that mindset. I think often we sacrifice ourselves, as you say, like I'm not prioritizing my business, I'm prioritizing the clients, and you kind of get the perspective the way that you framed it, you know, that my business is my best client from a long-term strategy standpoint. Yeah,
for sure. And if this was a cancer conversation, then you would have a different thinking about it, right? Taking care of and fixing my client's cancer, and you know what? My cancer is fine. Don't worry about it. While it's growing, like exactly right. You're like, well, that's stupid. Yeah, it is. And so if we were giving examples as cancers in our business, like we would act very differently. Yeah, awesome. Anyone else? Going once, going twice.
Gone 3 times, I think.
3 times. All right, awesome.
This has been remarkable again. I can't emphasize how much hearing this from another person, hearing it inside your head is one thing, but hearing it from somebody else who reiterates and helps you connect those dots again and have something positive come out of the occasion is great. We'll be looking forward to talking to you and Luciano about booking the next session. And definitely, there were so many good things that came out of this. I always feel energized when we meet, and at the end of the day, more curiosity than fear rung with me very well. Be an architect of your habit or of your habits. That's really, really wise and sage advice. Thank you so much, Isabelle. I want to emphasize that everybody should reach out to you and should complete the questionnaire. And at a remarkable discount of 80%, the LeapZone Learning Lab is certainly something to look into. I mean, that's dinner out basically to get so much emotional intelligence, support for your thoughts and dreams, and direction for your future. So I really recommend that to anybody, and to connecting with Isabelle. It's awesome.
Well, looking
Thanks so
forward
much,
to
and thank
that,
you everybody
guys.
for attending. Really appreciate you being here.
You bet. Thank you so much. Cheers.
Have a great rest of your day, folks.
Hi, everybody. Bye-bye.